For every team, we come for that championship.
Yeah. What's up, everybody? What's going on, HBCU Game Day? This is SJG rolling along with my guy K-Ferg. And yeah, man, got a lot of football to talk about this week. We are officially, for everybody, except for the people who are out there going to get that money, and we'll talk about them as well. We are in conference mode. Chris, man, first off, how you doing? How are you? Are you back home? I see your trademark map. Are you back at the abode?
I'm back at the abode.
Okay. Back at the abode, back off the road. I see we had the people going. Shout out to my guy Blue Jacket for Life. Good evening. Congrats to Benedict, VUU, and Allen for impressive wins. Congrats to our guy Sly. They just finished up the SIAC show. Great job with him and Jamie. We lost to BC. Well, okay. All right. We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
We got there. We got there, Chanel, quick. Yep. Livingstone. We're going to get there, too, as you already saw. There will be a lot of talking in there. And look who we have with us. Let's see. Okay. Raise your hand if you took an L last week by 1 point. And it's okay. Because we got clipped last week because we made it. We're gonna get there anyway. All right, let's stick to the script. First off, we start off in Richmond, Virginia, historic Hovey Field, where which was this was our game of the week. It had two reigning top 25 teams on the D2 football poll show. Virginia Union got a chance to get there and act their revenge on Johnson C. Smith. This time we moved from Beatties Ford Road to Lombard Street. And, it was a whole new world. It was the Curtis Allen show. He outscored Johnson C. Smith by himself, single-handedly. Actually, in the first half, he did that. So, 28-10 was the final score. Chris, let's hear from Coach Parker about this, and then we'll get some thoughts.
Well, I think it was a great win, great home win. So that was something that was really good, But it's a long season. I think you got to look at it that way as well. It's a long season. I was glad we was able to get that one under our belt, but we got a lot more football to play. We got a lot of improving that we still can do. So that's the good thing about it. We still get the opportunity to coach and get these guys in position. But, in terms of how Saturday went, I was proud of the guys with the way they played, rebounding off of a loss the week before, and kind of coming back, being a little gritty and doing some things that we had coached them up to do. I felt good about that.
All right. So there we go. Coach Parker and his guys improved to 3-1 on the season with that lone loss being to Edward Waters, the SIAC guys. Please make sure you hit that like button as you guys coming in here. Chris, what were your thoughts on this game? I think it was a little bit of a weather delay. A big bounce back effort by the Panthers.
Well, I mean, when you think about VUU and what they needed to do to bounce back, I mean, they responded the way that you could hope for if you're a VUU fan. I mean, I think you got to think about how, this is a team that's coaching staff that's very battle tested, right? So, yeah, they got to figure out a way to coach their guys up after that Edward Waters loss, and they're going to know how to do that. And so, I felt like VUU was going to have that chance because they're playing at home. In familiar confines, get back into your routine, block out all the noise, and you'll get there. They made Kelvin Durham's life very uncomfortable, especially in the second half. You had a point where you got to figure out, you got to get the ball, push the ball down the field because, VUU with that passing game, it's potent enough to start opening up like holes here and there for Curtis Allen. And they had like one pass play where they got the ball down. RJ Rosales got the ball down to one of the wide receivers, like 30, 40 yards. And it's just like, man, like just as you think VU can't move the ball, they just spring that on you. And they just have up their sleeve. If you're Johnson C. Smith, you kind of going back to the drawing board because there's just not enough consistency in when it's a more physical matchup, like VU brought to the table. I mean, they can kind of play bully ball with a lot of different teams. That don't work with VU. It just doesn't. And so I think that's what you saw in a scenario like that. So in that game.
Yeah, no doubt about it. They showed that, hey, that loss notwithstanding, they still are the reigning champions. And again, they had a score to settle with last year, even though it doesn't count for Virginia Union, at least right now, but it could.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because it didn't last year. But anyway, hey, whatever they got going on in CIAA, we'll try to figure that out. All right, let's get to our segments. We'll start off with B to A. B to A. Quite a few of them here. We had the first one of the night. The first one of the week actually kicked off the week. Benedict, 45-24 for Tuskegee. Tuskegee starts off, they slipped by Winston-Salem State. They're able to beat up on Central State. Then they go over to Jackson State and cut the check. And then they go to Benedict on a short week. And yeah, man, Benedict found some offense. We'll get into whether we believe that's going to work long term for them. But your reaction to this?
Man, I mean, that game was Tuskegee was like 17-7, and the way that Benedict responded, and it's just like they just like really like just reached back and just clocked Tuskegee the way they did, and by the time Tuskegee woke up, Benedict was long gone. I mean, it was just brutal. I just didn't think that Benedict had it in them like that. And so I think it caught a lot of people off guard with what happened there. So I'm really curious to see if they can keep it going. But I think again that offense is a lot different with Darius Ocean running it, and what he's able to do. So kudos to Benedict and what they were able to do. 45 points is a huge amount to give up against a Tuskegee team that likes to keep the scoring relatively low. I'm just kind of wondering too, like if that short week didn't help the Golden Tigers. I mean, coming off having to play up a division and then turn around and play on a Thursday night like that. I mean, that's a little bit of a tougher turnaround. So I think that may have had a little bit of effect too.
Yeah, no doubt about it. We'll stay in the SIAC. Savannah State, they did what you're supposed to do to Miles. I would have to agree with Sly. Like he said on our SIAC show, they did what you're supposed to do to Miles this year. They scored 19 points, so that's better. Yeah. Your thoughts? Any thoughts there, or just?
Well, I just think that the game was a lot closer than what the score indicates, at least in the first half. I mean, Miles was only down 7 at halftime. But the theme of the week could easily have been special teams matter, right? I mean, because I know, Stephen, I know, and look, it works out and it doesn't work out, right? We're gonna talk about Tyler. It works out a little bit later, but this is a case where you got a block punt that gets touchdown, and there's not much you can do there. The defense scores. All 3 phases of the game scores. I mean, you're pretty much DOA at that point, and that's kind of what happened with Miles, especially in that second half. So, again, it was a complete game for Savannah State, and you can't be bad at it, man. It feels good for them, but yeah, I think everybody's just kind of getting their licks in on Miles after what happened last year.
Yeah, man. And we had a B to A in the CIAA. Fayetteville State. Who saw this one coming? But here we go.
hometown boy, right here in Rocky Mount, North Carolina. Rocky Mount Senior High, my high school rivalry.
Fakes to Silver. They go to Watson for an easy touchdown for his second score. Xavier Watson, the slant, and 6 more points.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, Fayetteville State finally found some offense. We'll talk about this a little bit later, but I mean, you know, Elizabeth City had been playing well. They hadn't been winning, but they had been playing well, and then just all of a sudden, the bottom falls off. Do you think this is just a case of familiarity with Richard Hayes knowing Adrian Jones and his offense and knowing that may not have as much as he would like yet, or is this maybe we've counted Fayetteville State out a little too soon?
Well, you know, as I was thinking about this game last week, as I was writing my column, I was like, yeah, on one hand, you got a situation where, you know, if there's a kryptonite for Adrian Jones, it's Richard Hayes, right? And all those, you know, games that FSU and Shaw play, and FSU will just pull a rabbit out their hat. And then I was just like, but, you know, FSU has not been playing really well. And Elizabeth City kind of, you know, they've just been on the brink. They've been on the edge every game this year. They've been really competitive. But I think the one thing to me that really stands out is that, like, the Broncos decided that they were going to take away the run game and force the pass. And, you know, the Vikings are just not that productive. They're okay. They're just merely like okay by like CIAA standards in the passing game. So it's not a I could take over the game with passing for them. And somehow Fayetteville State found a passing game, and that made all the difference. That made them really, really dangerous. So I just meant like I was just like, man, like I want to pick Fayetteville State, but I don't know. And by halftime, I'm like, man, Richard Hayes must have read my stuff, man, because every time I pick against Richard Hayes in a game like this, like he shows me the door. So like it was great to see Fayetteville State do what they could do there. But man, you just kind of leave Elizabeth City kind of just your head is scratching a little bit and have to remember it's just year one of Adrian Jones at this point.
Yeah, man. So yeah, reports of Fayetteville State's downfall may be premature. We'll talk about that later.
Really exaggerated.
Maybe. Shout out to my guy Antonio Davis. His son is big number 7. You know, when you see him in the game, you know what's up. You already know what it is.
Yep.
Yeah. So, all right. So we'll call this one Cut the Check. Cut the check. All right. So Edward Waters, they came into the game. They had a big win over Virginia Union. Everybody's, you know, feeling good about them. They promote Brian Jenkins to the head coach, permanent head coach, deservedly so, I would say. And they go to play the team that he helped, you know, become a power in the MEAC. And there was no D2 win to be found this year at Bethune-Cookman. And they said, yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much was control. Do you think that Edward Waters just kind of takes this as bump in the road, something that happens when you play up, or do you feel like with what we've seen from other SIAC teams, other SIAC teams and other D2 teams that, hey, maybe if they didn't play them that closely, it's maybe they're still a little bit, I don't know. You reading anything into that?
Nah, I mean, there's so many variables when you're playing upper division, and some of that is about matchups too. And hey, it didn't work. They tried. It don't count for playoffs. It don't count for conference. You get your check, you move on, you leave healthy. So it felt like it might be an upset, but I mean, you just never know with those games. And you thought that maybe it would be a little bit more competitive. But hey, it doesn't tarnish anything in my eyes.
Yeah, and this could definitely fall in the B to A category. But we just kept it under the cut the check since there were enough B to A's within D2 play to go around. So 49-7 lane. All right, next we go on to another favorite segment of the show.
Let me down. Everybody knows. Almost doesn't count.
It does not count for so many of us. All right, so Delta State, Fort Valley State 20. So Delta State beats Fort Valley State 21-16. Last week I said maybe this was B to A, but you said that it wouldn't be, and Fort Valley State had their chances. I'm hearing that in the fourth quarter they had their chances, but penalty, special teams, and penalties came back for that double whammy, and they lose this game 21-16.
That's the old Dennis Green, right? They are who we thought they were.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, because they traded leads in the fourth quarter like multiple times, and Fort Valley let them off the hook for the second straight year. I mean, that would have been an awesome win, but man, I mean, and I think the quarterback got hurt, and that didn't help either. Right. Their starting quarterback got hurt, so I mean, they did what they could, but unfortunately, that's just a younger team having to learn not to let those games slip away.
Doesn't count. All right, here's another one that doesn't count.
Number in the pass.
Oh!
Just
almost had it, Chris.
Was it just
it was right here, Chris.
Was number.
It was right there.
Intended receiver right there was.
I told you. Look. So 17-16 win for Livingstone. I told y'all, and I told you, Clarence, that strange things happen on that blue turf
That's true.
In West Monroe. They've been playing. This is what? 22, 23, 24, now 25. Every year. You put us up on the Summer Jam screen, they picked this Livingstone. There we go. Chris, your thoughts?
Well, since you asked, I mean, listen. Yeah, strange things do happen in Livingstone, but also, again, special teams, right? I mean, that was another factor in this, and it loses games. But, Livingstone definitely made life difficult, especially with that defensive line, made things really difficult for Bowie State. So I the fact that it was 1 point, I mean, just underscores like how tough these games are to pick. Because it could have just gone either way. But hey, Livingstone took the win. We appreciate y'all. Thank you very much.
They said we were gonna lose. Man, them boys can't even speak, man.
It ain't hard to be a Livingstonian. You just gotta be a Livingstonian.
They get back on ball. 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 Get it. Advice on how to kill, cause they don't listen to nothing. Be macho man and hook his hell. Till you hop out with that buddy. I ain't giving any advice on but how to go to church on Sunday. Not so much he get my young tear just hit you in the stomach. Just told my I give lean of the team. Looking like lasagna. Fat don't never be in his head, what you mean? I was just there this Sunday. It's too much going on if it's $2. Pay me my money. Back to the jet, just me, Trap House Band Wizard, Joe Jug, bag hard. The largest. I can't keep up. I'm in New York at the break, ain't done eating shrimps, we got it. Long days I feed my family, mercy. Being the hardest. If I get booked for a show in my city.
We coming for every team. We come for that championship.
Who that, man? That's all I gotta say, man.
Even though he's gonna get out, I'ma say it again. Keep Marley. We the one got this.
Ooh, that was intense.
It was, man.
Yeah, man.
Had me clutching my pearls.
Yeah. Hey. Well, you know, we know all about that. We know all about that. So, but we'll get there. We'll get there because you know what? You say that right now, Clarence, but let things go your way this week. You'll be at it. The same thing will happen. Anyway, let's get to it. You know, it's easy. It's very fun, actually. It's therapeutic, actually, to laugh at the misfortune of others. And we definitely had a good laugh on behalf of our friend and Clarence over there at Bowie State. But you know what? Hey.
However.
Yeah, down the road in Winston-Salem. Yeah, man, we'll just we'll just roll the tape.
Yeah.
It's his dog tired. Noah.
He's going to be in.
He just mashed his way in for the touchdown.
Noah Marshall.
And he trampled several Trojans on the way as you see bodies getting up off the turf.
5:55 to play. Now, do you go for two or?
Oh, no.
Whew, man, in hindsight.
Lorenzon is in the game already.
Yeah.
No good.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my goodness.
The kick is no good.
Oh, my.
Let's go! Touch you!
That's how it went down over at Bowman Gray Stadium. Yeah, Chris, you know, 34-33 win for Virginia State. They escaped with a 34-33 win. This was a game that was 13-10 at halftime. Winston-Salem State had the lead. And in the third quarter, they just decided they didn't want the ball anymore. 3 turnovers, all in Virginia State territory. And Virginia State, to their credit, they capitalized, scored what? It was 3 touchdowns? No, it was 7. They scored 17 in that quarter. It was 17 or 21. I can't remember. It just went off the rails. WSSU made a comeback attempt, had to pass, and you know, hey, look, they really had Virginia State looking gassed. And then you get to the extra points, and this is the epitome of almost doesn't count. Chris, last week we talked about this game. You know, you went with your head, and I went with my heart. And damn it, you were right.
I had to hedge for bets, man. I had to hedge for bets. Listen, I wasn't wanting to make that choice. I just felt it that, like, I just don't know if this is really going to happen like it should. Because it's Winston-Salem State, right? Things should happen. It should be pretty easy, and it's just never easy. So at some point when that happens, the magic runs out. There you go. So, yeah, no. I just couldn't do it.
Yeah, man, I did it, and then I had to live it in my face, It just, it was, man. You know, and I should have known. I played the clips last week, Chris. I said, hey, you know what? You guys have 2 high-powered offenses. Maybe this is going to be a shootout. I was told, I don't think it's going to be a shootout. It's probably going to be more of a slugfest, a field goal game. Man, and it was both. It was both.
WSSU doesn't have the defense. I mean, that's just what that is.
Special teams, first of all, I mean, when you give a team like Virginia State I mean, it wasn't too many times they started behind their own 40. The kick coverage remains atrocious as it has been for multiple years. And, it just all set up. So they wasted 330-yard effort by Dalen Lee. Rashawn Matthews Jr., he picked the defense apart. He was solid in passing. But he really just broke him down with his legs. Something that we saw coming up soon. And and let's see, the WSSU hatred is going on in the chat here, but we'll come back to them later.
We will not forget. We will not forget you.
Will not be forgotten. Let's see. All right, so let's move on to questions that need answers, Chris. Should VUU still be ranked?
Yeah. Why wouldn't they be? I mean, this is VUU we're talking about, a team that, has persevered year after year with a really excellent coaching staff. I mean, absolutely. Why not? Simple as that. Go to your second question, because that's the one I really want to address.
All right. So this has been a topic of discussion and debate all week since polls came out. The D2 football poll being one, the AFCA poll being one, and then there have been some other poll/power rankings where Virginia Union is ranked, and in many of them number one, where Edward Waters, who they defeated, is not ranked. All right, so twofold question: should they be ranked, and should they be ranked above Virginia Union? Seeing that their only loss is to a Division I team. The floor, Chris, is now yours.
Well, the thing about polls is this: like, polls are an opinion poll, right? And I think that one of the things I learned becoming a columnist is sometimes teams are slow to get into a poll, and sometimes teams are slow to get out of a poll. And a lot of that just has to do with just the familiarity with teams. Edward Waters is a new to that conversation team. And, to me, the one question that really stands out is, was it a fluke that they beat Virginia Union, or is it a sign of something bigger to come? We couldn't really answer that question against Bethune-Cookman because Bethune-Cookman was supposed to win. But I think as we go through the season, we'll know, is it a fluke? Or is it something bigger here? I mean, when you look at the SIAC in general, I mean, there's other teams that also could make a case for being ranked. I mean, to me, I think Albany State certainly there. I think that Benedict, there was something that also came up in the socials as a consideration too. But it's like, when you look at a national level, it's been a while since you have Miles's win last year in the playoffs, but beyond that, I mean, the SIAC really hasn't done a ton. And I think this year is shaping up to be a really great year. They're on the radar. I think that's the thing too. It's like, it's not like they're not being ignored. They're on the radar, but I don't think people want to get bit too early by putting them in, and then they just sort of crash out of the poll. I mean, you kind of saw that with Johnson C. Smith, right? I mean, they got in there, and then, they didn't stay very long. Now we got Virginia State in the poll. I mean, these are teams that have consistently won. Edward Waters is just a newer commodity, and now you got Benedict coming onto the scene. They have some name recognition, and you got Albany State that, is also going to have some recognition too. So it's only a matter of time. I mean, the stuff is going to sort itself out. I mean, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. So, but rest assured, the fact people are talking about Edward Waters, they are going to start talking about Benedict. And I'm excited to see what turns out over the next week or two. And I just think that, the question of Edward Waters and VUU is going to be that, was it a fluke or was it not a fluke? I mean, Edward Waters was at home. Can they pull the same thing off on the road? Becomes a question. So that's my 2 cents on it. I kind of withheld my responses until we got to the show, because I just felt like, there's a lot of feelings out there about it, but I just think that it's in due time, right? And before we see, one of these SIAC teams in the poll, I don't think it's going to take that long either. I just don't.
Yeah, no doubt about it, guys. I apologize. I think some people are saying that they are experiencing some freezing. So, Spectrum, count your days. Let me see if I can move it. It says move it maybe potentially closer to my router. So I'll do that. But yeah, Chris, I would say for me, I think the same thing you are. I'm in some polls as well. And it's like when you go to a national conversation, for sure, when there's just name recognition matters, and recent history is going to be built into that too. So I think, for Edward Waters, obviously, if I'm Edward Waters, yeah, I'd be making a lot of noises saying that I thought I should be ranked too. But I think, again, like you said, I think it will work itself out. And I'm not sure if they play Albany State yet this year. I haven't gotten that far in there. But I think if both of those teams keep winning, then I think, whenever they meet and there is that collision course, for sure, then there's that chance there. But like you said, I think Virginia Union, they built up over the last couple of years, they built up name recognition that just is something that's just kind of invaluable in this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So so we got that. We got that question that needs answers. Another question that needs answers was the CIAA standing. So again, didn't count for the teams in the North, but in a tiebreaker scenario, as more and more information is uncovered every day, it will kind of count if there's a tiebreaker. I don't know. The CIAA just drops these rules from on high, and it's whispers and rumors, and then nobody ever knows because they never say anything. They don't answer phone calls. We won't even get into that, but it just is what it is. Obviously, though, chat says, hey, chat says ranked 40 burger is hard fluke again. I mean, both teams. I mean, the teams combined to score almost 80 points. So, not a lot of defense being played there. But yeah. All right, so now we're gonna go to buy. We're gonna go to buy and sell, Chris. We're bringing this segment back again after a couple of weeks. All right, Chris. So let's see. The first thing that we're gonna ask about in terms of buying and selling, are we buying Fayetteville State's offense being a thing?
No. No. I'm sorry. I'm just not there yet. I need to see a little bit more consistency. Beating up on the lower half of the conference is one thing, but now you're going to get a chance to prove against a much tougher foe this weekend. One that gave up a lot of points in the air, and to prove yourself, but. No, I don't know. I just don't think that it's going to be quite there yet. Nope.
Yeah, Dalen Lee did pass for 331 yards, but Dalen Lee, to me, he's the best passer in the CIAA. Just pure passer. Now you can talk about Kelvin Durham and obviously Williams as just dual threat guys, but I think as a passer, so. I don't know that they're going to be giving up that every week. Now they did kind of hold up the quarterback for the first quarterback in Norfolk State. So we'll see. We'll see if they get more. They're playing against more guys that are like that. And thanks, Jonathan McGriff. Are we buying or selling Edward Waters as the favorite in the SIAC, Chris?
Well, they got a very favorable schedule, that's for sure. They don't have to play Albany. They don't have to play Fort Valley State. Here's their schedule. Morehouse, Kentucky State, that may actually be interesting. Benedict, that will be interesting. Clark, Central State, and Allen, that's going to be interesting. So, I mean, I think that they certainly have the chance to win a majority of those games, but those are going to be offensive games, I feel like, and I'm really looking forward to see how they shape up there, and they have a bit of a gauntlet there. So I like what they're doing. Do I think that I'm buying them? Yeah, absolutely, I'm buying them. But this is a team that could be like 4-1. I mean, it's Morehouse. I don't really see them putting much of a challenge up. So
it is Morehouse. AD Drew will be busy keeping up with all the tackles that his guys are making as they try to corral this. So shout out to our guy AD Drew, our friend who his bread is buttered by the SIAC, and he's earned some disdain among the Livingstone faithful, from what I understand. So, shout out to our guy Alonzo. He says he's buying it. Hey, we'll take it. We'll take it. All right. Let's see. So, all right. And just because I love playing this clip, Chris, we're gonna play it again, even though there's some hateration in the dancery in the chat.
Every team we come for that championship.
Where did they get this? What is that? What is that?
Why isn't it blue, man? Like, come on. Where is the dye?
So I was told. I don't even know if I was told that the blue bear is like, but it's like a blue black. I don't know if anybody's ever heard that, but it's not supposed to be like the light colored blue, the Columbia blue. Well, hey, Halloween is in 5 weeks. Keep the kids away. I have to make sure my daughter does not see that and be scarred for life.
I mean, then it's a brown bear. Like, it's a plain old bear.
Every team we come for that championship.
I mean, but you gotta admire the dedication. Is that like a glaze he's got on? He's not like painted. He's like glazed.
Right.
He's like glazed, I love it. All right, but are we buying them? Are we willing to buy them as a championship contender? Only because, and I say that just because you pointed out the schedule for Edward Waters. I look at the schedule for Livingstone, at least the crossover schedule. They get Bowie. I mean, this ain't David Wilson's later Bowie.
Right.
They get Lincoln, and both of those games are at home. They should beat Lincoln. Lincoln and Miles, they might need to get together and schedule the game. And the winner play. No, Miles and Morehouse winner gets to play Lincoln. And then they finish up with Elizabeth City. So that's their crossover. Y'all are frying. Y'all are absolutely frying. Hey man, y'all are frying the blue bear.
Team Blue Bear. That's great.
Yeah, that's that West End bear. He been going no time. All right. Anyway. But so they don't have they don't have they don't have the but they don't have a lot of home games. They go to Winston for homecoming, but hey, they beat Winston the last time they were in Bowman Gray Stadium. They go to Johnson C. Smith. I think they got to go to Fayetteville State. Are we buying them as a contender, or I mean, they were a factor last year. So yeah, your thoughts?
Livingstone is that team that it's they got enough to mount some challenges, and they're a keep it low scoring, ugly game affair. And you saw that last year, like when Winston and Livingstone played, that even though the margin was double digits, it was not easy for Winston. And you also saw that against Johnson C. Smith, right? I mean, the way that JCSU took that nosedive is because of the style of play that is Livingstone College, especially on that defense. And so, I mean, the schedule's very favorable, right? I mean, it just feels like, Lincoln, Elizabeth City.
As long as they don't go partying with the Bear the night before, they should win that game.
but like,
at home.
I'll be honest with you. I just think that like Lincoln and Elizabeth City, those feels like trap games for a Livingstone, where it may not feel like a trap game for other teams. And then you got to play like Fayetteville State. They're not going to lay down, right? And Shaw, we saw that they actually won. They changed quarterbacks. They had an offense against Lincoln. So it's those are like 50-50 games in a way, maybe slightly like an underdog for Livingstone. I don't see it, even though it's a favorable schedule. Like, no doubt. Like, this is like if Winston was playing the schedule, like, yeah, I feel way better about this. But they got the draw of like 3 solid teams, so
two really good ones and a possible.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Spade's hand, I get it. But like, it's a favorable schedule, but even then, I'm just not that confident in Livingstone at this point. I'm not.
No. Okay. All right. Well, I'm sure that'll be a popular answer. Give them some bulletin board material over there. Our friends over there, see, they keep up with the show. Let's see. All right. We are now officially on B to A watch. We'll start off with Morgan State versus Miles. Even though I'm gonna tell you right now, if Morgan State does not score more than if Morgan State does not score more than 40 points against Miles, man, relegate them back to the CIAA.
Well, how many points did they score against Central State? I mean,
27.
Exactly. Morgan State's a defensive team. I mean, no. I mean, I don't see it happening. It should. But, I mean, will Miles score is probably the better question. Unless they, put in like the 4th or 5th string or something like that. Will Miles score? But Central State didn't.
Right. So. All right. We do have a response. He's not the official mascot. Yes. Yes, he's not the official mascot. He had to buy that bear. Well, you know what? That's dedication. Now somebody just got to get him some more paint because he's glazed. He was not painted. He was definitely glazed.
I think the bear should be like the color commentator for the radio broadcast. Because if you listen to that game, man, it was interesting. It was interesting.
Maybe they were hanging out the night before. Okay. Let's see. All right. So we'll go to Edward Waters versus Morehouse. Is this a B to A game for you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I mean, Morehouse will, score a few points, but it's not going to be close. They don't have the defense to keep up.
Oh man, yeah. Okay. Virginia Union versus Shaw.
Well, I called into the Shaw presser, and I know they're excited to go up in this type of matchup. Those coaches are no stranger to what VUU brings to the table. But the problem is just going to be that VU is probably just going to be a little too physical, and they have a tendency to kind of grind teams up, and I can easily see that happening here in this game. Shaw. I think Shaw's found something, right? Especially with the way they were able to run the ball, the way they were able to have a number one, Jalon Walton, number one wide receiver, and Xander Marsh at quarterback now. So I think that they will get a sense of what it takes to get to the top of the CIAA, because VU, it's not going to be pretty in a game like this.
Straight
plus 14. No, that's like plus 28.
Straight leather.
Yeah,
is straight leather. All right, I'm gonna add this one in here. All right, I'm gonna give this here too because you said you kind of said it might be close. Livingstone and Lincoln, LC versus LU. Is there any way we get a belt to A here?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so because, like, Livingstone is sort of built to stop the run, and Lincoln doesn't run well anyway. I just think that Lincoln's passing game is serviceable enough that it will allow them to get points on the board. Like, they had the opportunity, like they were down, I think it was like by 2 scores, and they were mounting a bit of a comeback. The problem with Lincoln is just they're just not, again, they're not consistent enough. And I would say this about really most teams that have a passing offense. They struggle when they get to the 20-yard line and get into the red zone. And so, to me, I just think that Livingstone's going to have more than enough to get past this game, but it's not like I've been to a Livingstone Lincoln game. I can't, it's happened. It was ugly, right? It was so ugly, very low scoring. It was ugly. But I just think that Lincoln is they're going to mount a challenge, but I don't think it's going to be enough. I like what they're doing. I like how they've sort of pulled things together. It's just a string of not great luck. And Lincoln has the worst defense in CIAA. No, have you seen Bluefield State? They can't turn off a faucet. I mean, it's awful. If you want to make your run game look good, you go to Bluefield State right now. Like, they're giving up over 500 yards in offense to the opponent. Lincoln is not quite there, but yeah, I wouldn't say they're the worst, but it's awful. It's awful right now. So, but yeah, I digress.
Yeah, well, we do got a player spotlight, and this is a man that the folks at Shaw will be getting very acquainted with.
Snap comes back. They're going to hand it off to Curtis Allen. He gets the edge. He gets the touchdown. Davis here on the near side. Put the fullback in motion. Hand it to Curtis Allen up the middle. He hurdles his way into the end zone. It's a Virginia Union touchdown. Saturday night. Rosales from under center hands it off. Curtis Allen patiently waits, bursts through the line, loses the football, doesn't matter. Union scoops it, and it's going to be
4 touchdowns for Curtis.
And over 100 yards rushing too.
Yeah, man, it's just unfair. But let's see. We will we'll look ahead to some of the other games this week that we're keeping an eye on. Let's start with Clark Atlanta versus wait a minute. One more buy or sell. Are you buying Allen as a are they the Livingstone of the SIAC? Are they a team that is you don't want to play? Might not have a chance to get to the championship game, but you don't want to play? Or did they just catch Clark Atlanta sleeping?
Well, Clark, again, we talk about like that was a bit of a rivalry game, it felt like. And also just, their defense hasn't been built up enough to slow down the likes of Jameer Disputes and Fabian, the running back. Like, oh man, like just how I was looking at some stats and like Fabian is like number 2 in the country in rushing right now. Some ridiculous number. I mean, it's they got a ton of offense where they can get into those shootouts. And again, that's the difference. Livingstone drugged them into a knockout, drag-out fight. If you want to play a track meet, that's Allen's game all day. So, it's a fun team to watch, to keep up with. I'm really curious to see how it goes for them. Am I buying them? Yeah, I'm buying them. Yeah, absolutely. Am I buying them more than Benedict? I don't know, and I know that would cause me a lot of angst if I show up in Columbia. But they're fun. They're fun watch.
Yeah, definitely definitely. Benedict was another one that could be right there too. There's at this point in the season, a lot of teams have played 4 games, almost at the midpoint of the season here. There's still a lot of questions to be answered. All right. Speaking of Benedict, let's look ahead to some of the bigger games this weekend. We got Clark Atlanta taking on Benedict. Does Benedict keep on rolling, or does Clark Atlanta find an answer? What are your thoughts on this one?
I like Benedict's chances here. I think that when you got an offense that can keep up and you got a defense that can kind of slow teams down. I like Benedict a little bit more than Clark in this particular one.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. Here's one. Virginia State. Virginia State and Fayetteville State. Now, if I'm not mistaken, this one's in Fayetteville.
Mm-hmm.
It was in Fayetteville. What are your thoughts? These were teams that were picked to finish 3 and 4 in the conference. I thought both were a little overrated, especially Fayetteville State. But hey, Virginia, and a couple weeks ago we said, hey, Virginia State looks like they're probably going to roll over Fayetteville State. But did Fayetteville State get enough confidence in its offense, and does it have enough defense to slow Virginia State down and hand them a CIAA L?
Well, these two teams they're 2-2 in the last 4 games. But last year VSU, sort of ran away with it. And do I think that Fayetteville State has enough? I don't know if I feel that way. I know it's at home. I know it's at home, but I'm not feeling it, man. Now I would say this: these two teams have some of the best defensive lines in the CIAA, right? The problem is that can Fayetteville State take advantage of an aggressive Virginia State defensive line to get the ball down the field, and or give enough protection? When you look at what Dalen Lee was able to do, he was able to exploit the back end of VSU's defense for really big pass plays. I don't know if Fayetteville State can do that. I don't know. And yes, they have athletic quarterbacks, but there's a big difference between athletic quarterback and a more of a pure passer that could pick you apart. And that's really what Fayetteville State's going to have to do here. I mean, it's a really tall task. So I'm not seeing it here. I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it. No. And look at what Virginia State's been able to do, right? I mean, their running game is starting to get some traction now. With Brandon Rose. Mm-hmm. And I forget the backup's name. I'm sorry, but between the two of them, they have a kind of a 1-2 punch. RJ Matthews, he can run the ball as well. So if he gets in trouble, yeah. And and I think it's going to force. I think the defense is going to force some Fayetteville State into some third and longs, and that's not a favorable place for them. So no, I think Virginia State's going to take this game. I think that they will cruise comfortably in this game.
Once again, Chris, you just crushed my dreams, man. You just crushed my dreams. All right. Next up, we've got. I had Tuskegee hosting Fort Valley State. Is this a must-win for Tuskegee after last week? Is this a must-win for them if they want to be a factor?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, there's so many teams ahead of them in terms of like what they can do and everything right now, in the standings too. You can't winning losing 2 games, conference games, will be really perilous in the SIAC this year. They have essentially turned into the have and have-nots, but the haves, there are a lot more haves this year than there have been in prior years, and so they really need this game to keep pace for later in the season at this point. Absolutely.
Okay. All right. And then we got Winston-Salem State hitting the road again, heading up to the DMV, PG County area. Let's hear what Coach Robert Massey had to say, some of what he had to say at the press conference after a tough loss and with a big game coming up.
End of the day, we have to win this game. And for me, I lead with saying by any means necessary. So if it's hitting the field goal this time to win it, or if it's scoring a couple points more than we normally would, then so be it. But we have to win this game. It's a sense of urgency. Again, when you talk about, and I heard this comment, and I'll say it again and I'll stand by it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I was referencing the running game. When you're winning and you got the lead, run the ball. You're not going to blow everybody out. Run the ball, get the clock, get on home. Because when you get out there and you try to get too fancy, you might get your best player hurt. Then you can't coach again. So again, this is our thought process. The things that we did well, we'll hop on that and improve. So that means some of those things in this game were not broke, so we don't need to fix them. We need to improve it, but we don't need to fix it. Some of the things that are broken, those are the things that we're going to fix.
When is their media? When is their press conferences?
WSSU media availability is on Tuesday. It's not. I don't think there's a virtual situation, but I'm there every week.
Yeah, I might have to show up one day. I think that when you talk about the running game, I mean, there are times where it works really well, but Virginia State was like the perfect team to slow it down, and they unleashed Dalen Lee at that point. So I don't know. It just the play calling. I don't know if it's it's pretty conservative in my opinion. But at least they're starting to catch their stride on the offense a little bit. So I give them that. The thing that worries me about Winston against Bowie is Bowie's strength is in the running game. The same area where it just feels like the good teams that can run the ball can really give Winston some fits. And so I think it's one of those situations where it feels like it's definitely a trap game. It is most certainly a trap game. I honestly just don't want to wear a Boo shirt. I don't have one. I don't want to spend the money. I made a little bet with Clarence, to show my faith that Winston's gonna win this game. I'm even wearing a yellow and black shirt today, just so I could wear yellow and black and look good in it. But that doesn't mean I want to wear a Boo shirt. I think Winston's going to win this game. I think that, it's a road game. I'm not crazy about Winston on the road, but I think that they will have more. They certainly are going to have the talent to get there, right? And I think that they can win this game very comfortably too. But the coach, I agree with Coach on one thing. Like, you can't get too cute with things, because if you get too cute, then that's where things really seem to go off the rails. So I agree with him there. But I do think that Winston's going to win this game. I think that it will be by double digits. I feel very confident in that pick. We'll see where it goes. I just think that, again, this is a scenario where if you're Bowie State, you really need your defense to pitch in to do some scoring as well, to win this game, because the offense really is just not there. It's not clicking right now. So, yeah.
Yeah, Clarence, I mean, would you like to come up and speak? I'll send you the link.
Drugs. Say no to drugs, kids.
If you would like to come up and speak and tell us why we're wrong, I'll give you, I'll let you come up.
We haven't given a second half point to a D2 opponent. I mean, but they didn't need it, because the offense hasn't been that great. That's the problem. Look at what Livingstone did. Livingstone.
You haven't played a D2 offense as good as ours. As much as they would like to hold it back and they want to make everything a slugfest.
I agree with that. They have not played an offense as good as Winston's offense. And Winston's offense is pretty good.
Damn good. I mean, that passing game with Washington, Deloach. I mean, Deloach has been he just doesn't get the ball enough, in my opinion. The running backs, they've got it, man. They just have to ease up on. They have to stop trying to run like it. They have to. It's not 1985. Like, and I love 1985, but yeah, it's just not 1985. Do you want to come up for a second, Clarence, and talk to us? And yeah. So we'll give. So let me send out the invite. Let's see.
Oh man, got to get Clarence up in here. Woo!
Do you have time for this, Chris? This was not on the.
I got time.
All right.
Yeah, we like guests.
All right. Give him a couple minutes here. But yeah, man, Chris, I don't know, man. Last week, man, it took a lot out of me, man.
I get it. I mean, I understand, but I mean, it's, Virginia State's a great team. And you can't. It sometimes just comes down to those little mistakes. Even when you battle back to miss the extra point, I mean, that's tough. That's tough on a kicker to miss a chip shot like that. So,
but we can't put it all on him. I mean, and I know you're not. We can't. I mean, the special teams coverage. I mean, on that first drive, they started at the 50. They took it out of the, like, it was like, we talking about it's the opposite side of disrespect, how they kicked it in the back of the end zone and the guy brought it out. Like, it was like nobody was afraid. So until they fix that, that's always going to be something that's going to put the defense on the defensive. And I think that their defense, is Clarence. This is the first time I've ever sent out a link. I don't think that the defense is bad. They just get put in very bad positions with that kickoff coverage game. Let's see. Clarence, are you able to click the link? I don't know if it should come up here or not. But yeah, so we're just gonna talk to Clarence and then we'll get on out of here. But if anybody else has any questions in the meantime before we do that, I'm definitely open for it. Let's see. You going to a game this week, Chris?
No, I'm going to hang in the back and get a chance to watch multiple games again this weekend. I'm looking forward to that. there's just a lot of good stuff out there right now. We talked about VSU. We talked about Shaw, VUU. I'm really curious on the Lincoln Livingstone game and see how that turns out. And then, it's a lot of great stuff out there across the Division II landscape as well. So it just gives opportunity to take in a lot of different stuff. So
yeah, I haven't decided whether or not I'm what I'm going to do. I think I might go check out LU versus LC. Yeah, I think I might go check out that game. I think I need a break from the Rams, and I'm sure there will be people that will be glad that I won't be there. So there's that, man. There is that. Clarence, hey man, I sent that link out a couple minutes ago. You good? If you don't have to come on camera if you don't want to, but we did want to give you the opportunity since you get your chance. Let's see. Okay, he says he's backstage. Oh, well, here I am talking. All right, guys. So we are welcoming because people say a lot of bad things about Winston-Salem State University, and nobody seems to like us, and everybody roots for us to lose, even people in other conferences. But we're actually a pretty friendly group of people. So we're gonna invite our friend Clarence, aka Breaking Down the Bulldogs, to join us. Clarence,
what's going on? How you guys doing?
Yep.
All right, appreciate you guys having me on. And contrary to popular belief, I don't actually dislike Winston at all. Honestly, it's just y'all are the only other CIAA school on that is active. So it's like, y'all the only ones there. We got to get more schools involved. But, I just pick on y'all because there's nobody else to talk to, honestly.
Everybody else is in the witness protection program, but, we're the ones getting beat silly. All right, Clarence, your thoughts on the game? Yeah. Well,
so just to be okay. All right. If I'm going to be perfectly honest, like if I had to bet a large amount of money, I wouldn't necessarily do it just because where we are, I need to see it first. But I'd put a small wager on us winning the game. I do have confidence that this team can win this game at home. Just simply because I do believe that they have turned a corner in terms of all the self-inflicted wounds over the past few years. Last game, even in the loss, for once, there were hardly any mistakes, only 4 penalties the entire game for once in several years. So that's one reason. Also, we can run the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Now, one concern I do have, well, two. The first one is the offensive line was embarrassed at Livingstone, and that's part of the reason why we lost the game because they could not block them for anything. It was like 3 sacks in the first quarter. They had a tough day. That's one concern, and then the secondary. I'm a little concerned as to what the approach is going to be. So if we would lose, it would be because O-line and secondary. But I think we got to win the game.
I appreciate that. So, Clarence, a year ago, before this game, you said that you did not feel that Dalen Lee was the guy that could sit back in the pocket and beat you. A year later, after last year's performance against Bowie State and against some of the other games that he's had, do you still feel the same way?
Against us, I think if he sits back in the pocket and beats us, it's because guys just had a bad day. That's what I'm thinking. It's like, because if you look at last year's game, it was just guys wide open because I'm not sure what happened. I just know guys were passing guys off to people and they didn't know who they were passing them off to, and guys were wide open and they dropped a couple of touchdowns as well in that game. That was a rough performance from the secondary. I don't think they're going to play that way again, though. They haven't done that so far this year. The press coverage does cause me some concern, though. But I think if the defense is sound, I'm not really worried about, I'm not worried.
Yeah, I mean, they at least passed for 500 yards last 2 games. Granted, one was Lincoln, but he actually passed for more yards against Virginia State. And
I will say he's better than I thought he was, but as far as like a pure pocket passer, I'll see in person on Saturday, so maybe I'll be proven wrong, but I'm
gonna tell you what I think the most dangerous thing he could be. I think people are lucky that he doesn't use his legs more, because my favorite, and I played with him on NC college football game, the read option with Dalen Lee, because WSSU likes to run. They like to run that dive play. They ran it so many times the other day. I was just waiting for Dalen Lee to just hold it, and he was gonna If you go back and look at Tuskegee game, every time he does that, he usually gets at least 5 yards. If he's just decisive with that, that's a game changer. And then they finally waited until the fourth quarter when they were behind for him actually to keep it and go against Virginia State, because it was open a couple of times where they had those field goals. It was open down there too. So I just think, WSSU aside, seeing him every week, I think he's really the key. If they let him do what he needs to do and they can get the running game going, but they can't be too.
I don't think y'all run the ball enough, honestly. I don't,
No. Did you see Saturday's game? If you saw Saturday's game, that was a time where we probably ran it too much, just straight up. There were just some times where it was too predictable. It was too predictable.
Yeah, we shall see though. I'm really curious about this game. It's going to come down to, honestly, I think it's going to come down to which coach is ready to get over the hump. That's what I think it's going to come down to. Because like Bowie, now it's like, okay, the Damon Wilson era is over. Let's let Kyle Jackson take the next step. And I know you guys are looking at your coach like, hey, we better be going to Durham or it might get a little hot down there. So
he said it himself, championship or bust. So
he did say that. He probably should have said, hey, man, we need a winning season, but he said championship. So now, and everybody heard him. So
he had that last season. He had a winning season last season.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that he would have said that they got to win a championship. He's been there. He's been there since 2019. They just got to. Yeah. So there's that. But we'll see. Well, yeah, Clarence, I don't think I'm going to be making that trip up there, man. I think I need a break from the Rams. So, but we will.
That's a good decision.
We will be bringing bus loads. We will be having our DMV, our Baltimore folks in the area too. So y'all will see Red. I think the last time we had y'all, it was like 2,700. It was one of your better attended 9 homecoming games, 9 opener games. So we'll be there.
Oh yeah, I think from what it's looking like, the students are going to be showing up. Should be a good turn. It better be a good turnout. I'll say that. Better be. I got to see it first. You know how they get in Bowie. Too cool to go to the game, but it's changing.
Y'all got a lot of stuff going on up there, so that's what we always hear. All right. Yeah. All right. Well, appreciate you for joining us, Clarence. We'll look forward. What do you have next? Is your weekly show? Is it tonight or is it? When is it?
It's tomorrow. It's tomorrow. I gotta get the clips together.
Okay.
That's one thing I'm happy about. Conference play, it's a lot easier to get all the highlights together.
Mm-hmm.
A lot faster. So it'll be tomorrow night.
What was your impression down in Livingstone? Besides the pressure washing, we already saw that on your video.
Man,
I told you that weird things happen on that blue turf, and you didn't believe me, and you clipped us last week like we didn't know what we were talking about. Weird things happen on that blue turf, man. That I don't know if that Bears cousin hopped on your guy's back or what, but
yeah. Well, as far as Livingstone, if they can get consistent pressure on more than just us, then they'll have a decent shot. Their issue is their passing game is not all that impressive, and they don't really run the ball all that well, nor do they stop the run all that well. But once again, if they get that kind of pressure on more teams, they're gonna be in some games because we literally could not pass the ball. So if they can do that consistently, they're gonna have a chance. But I don't know if they're gonna be able to do that against other offensive lines. I think we just had either a bad matchup or a bad day, but it was bad.
We shall see. We shall see. Well, thanks for joining us, Clarence. Appreciate you. And thanks for everybody for tuning in to this episode of the Division II the HBCU Game Day D2 show. We will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.